Hi everyone, nice to be with you here today. My name is Tim Ronca, better known as Miss Ronca's brother. And I'm here today to talk to you about my job. And my job is a TV news reporter for Spectrum Bay News 9. You may have seen me on TV before. I'm out there doing all sorts of stories, from stories on the coronavirus to traffic to storms. We do it all on Bay News 9. And I'm out there sometimes in the studio, sometimes I'm in the field, live on TV, or other times I'm where I'm talking to you from right now, at home. As you know, a lot of us are working from home right now. A lot of you are in school from home right now, and I know it's a little bit different. It's been different for me this year too. And so I'm going to start with where I'm sitting right now. I converted a room into my house to have some room for all of my equipment, and I actually sit here sometimes and go on TV. And here is a picture of what it looks like behind the scenes here. And I'm going to let you know a little secret. A lot of us that you see on TV broadcasting from home, sometimes we're not always wearing pants. As you can see here, I'm wearing shorts, but you can also see some of the equipment I'm using. I have my camera set up, my big high-powered studio light behind it, and I'm also wearing a wired microphone so you can hear me nice and clear. Now, I don't always get to stay home, of course. Being a reporter, that means that I have to go out into public a lot, where I get to meet people, I have to ask questions, I have to take my camera, get video of different things that are going on, and then what I do is I put that all together and put it into a news story that you will see on TV. So some of those news stories you see on TV in the morning or at night whenever you're watching, they might only be a minute or 2 minutes long, but it takes a day, sometimes days of work just for that 1 minute or 2 minutes of TV time. And so we do a lot of things, like I said, shooting with the camera, interviewing people, and then I edit it all together on my computer, send it off to the station, and the station puts it on TV. So I've done all sorts of stories, and I want to start actually with a fun story that I did that I think you guys might like. It was a time where I got to be live on TV inside a giant bounce house, and it was something a lot of kids had fun doing. I got to act like a little kid in it, so here's a look at that story.
And that's where our Spectrum Bay News 9's Tim Ronca is live this morning. Hi, Tim, and you just showed us the outside, and it now looks like you're on the inside.
I'm on the inside, and it's even cooler in here than I thought. I'm standing in one of the many obstacles and things there are to do around here, and of course, bouncing is going to be the main highlight. But if we take a look around here, it is not just a bounce house in here. We have slides, we have those obstacles I just showed, we have this climbing wall here, all sorts of fun things to do. It's not just, hey, come in and bounce around. There's games, there's a ball pit, and there's a whole lot of fun here. In fact, there's even a DJ there in the middle, which is pretty cool. He's going to get rocking here soon. In fact, he's coming into the booth now. And any second now, they're going to be letting some of the kids in. But there's a whole lot of room in here. 10,000 square feet and 32 feet tall at its highest point, which is pretty cool. And right now, the kids are about to come in. But they're also going to be opening up for adults later. And Aaron, I'd like to end this by probably embarrassing myself here. They had this basketball hoop here that you're supposed to bounce, and I'm going to see if I can get it in. Probably not, because I was practicing and I couldn't do it. All right, see if I can get a good bounce in. Oh, come on. I'm never going to get that in. I've tried a bunch here. But yeah, a lot of fun here. Come on out. It's going to be here today in Sarasota. We're at the University Town Center Mall at a park here. And of course, if you do come, make sure you have socks. That's how you have to get in here. No shoes allowed, no bare feet. Socks are the only way you can enjoy this world's largest bounce house. Aaron, back inside to you. Had a lot of fun that day in the bounce house. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. So I want to show you another story. I actually did this just this past week. It's about a Christmas tree farm. It's here in the Tampa Bay area in a place called Dade City. And the reason I went to this place is that for the first time this year, they opened up early. And they are seeing a lot of people coming out earlier this year to get their Christmas trees because it's been a sad year for many people and they want to have a tree up in their house. And so it's a fun story I did about what it's like on the Christmas tree farm. Here's a look at that story. The chainsaws aren't usually running yet this time of the year at Ergel Christmas Tree Farm in Dade City. But owner Tony Harris opened up a week early, and it felt like Christmas morning in November.
Once we opened up opening day, we thought we were going to have sort of a slack day. Well, it wasn't slack. Everyone was coming to get their tree. They wanted their tree then, and we supplied the trees and they supplied the cheer.
This past weekend brought a lot more people than usual out to the farm, especially for the middle of November. Harris has a theory.
Everything that you see is just bombarding you, and you're like, you know, I need something to be happy about. Well, what makes you happier than Christmas?
Of course, like all things 2020, things look a little bit different at the Christmas tree farm this year. For one, they are asking that you wear masks when you're here. But for the most part, they're getting feedback from folks saying they just like a place to be able to be outside and get into the holiday spirit. That's exactly how Nancy and Wayne Rolston feel.
Actually, it's just refreshing to be outside and look at the nature that we have.
So if shaking off 2020 means putting up your tree a bit early, Harris says that's what he is there for.
Just the celebration and the family being able to, you know, come together and everyone around the Christmas tree. And that's what it's all about.
In Pasco County, Tim Ronca, Spectrum Bay News 9. So you might have seen a difference between that story and the bounce house story. And the difference is that the bounce house story I was live for. The Christmas farm story is something we call a package. And that's what I told you about earlier, how I will take my camera and my microphone and my light and I'll go out to a story, I'll interview people, I'll get all the video, and I'll put it all together and write it into what we call a news package. And that is what you see on TV. I also want to show you some of my traffic reporting I've done. A lot of you watch in the mornings. You've seen Chuck Henson doing the traffic. Well, when he's off, I fill in for him. And just this past week, I had to do some pretty crazy traffic reports because of the tropical storm. Here's a look at some of that. So here's a live look at what the Skyway Bridge looks like right now. This is one of our real-time traffic cams provided by DOT. You can see it's just kind of gloomy weather there. A lot of rain moving through that area right now, so traffic moving slower than it usually would. But the good news is, for now at least, the bridge remains open. Now, there is a high wind advisory in place. This came down around 6 o'clock this morning. And what that means, it's just basically to use precaution when you cross the bridge. And that is typically for bigger vehicles like semis, RVs, things like that, just to use caution as you are crossing the bridge. But right now, as you can see, it is open and we expect it to stay that way for now. Now, one of the things to keep in mind when FHP makes a call to close the bridge, it actually is not just them that decides that. FDOT is involved. Local agencies, also local weather agencies are also involved. And as Julie mentioned, we could see wind gusts maybe today as early as this afternoon near 40 miles per hour. And so that is the threshold they usually look at for making a call of whether or not they want to shut down the Skyway Bridge. Of course, right now it's looking good. Also, the other bridges to keep in mind are the ones that cross the bay. And so here's a look at the Howard Franklin. From a traffic perspective, we're looking good right there. But one of the things they look out for is water getting on the roadway. It's less of a wind thing, more of a water thing getting onto the roadway when they make a call there. Not expecting that right now, but again, something that we'll keep in mind as the storm gets closer. Erica.
And so, Tim, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, the potential for standing water, why it's a bad idea to drive through standing water. It always happens. We always see it. And one of the emergency managers wanted to make that point, reminding drivers just don't try it. It's just a small amount of standing water can cause you to lose control of your vehicle.
Erica, that's a really great point. And, you know, as I'm looking at the cameras right now, we're not seeing much standing water yet. Of course, that could change as the storm gets closer. But yes, once it's here and when we do get some flooding, that is something you're going to want to keep in mind. You know, we saw some pretty crazy videos coming out of South Florida of folks trying to get through some of these flooded areas. Some cars even going almost entirely underneath, looking like submarines. That's never a good idea. If there's any doubt of how deep that water is in front of you, like you mentioned, always a good idea to turn around.
Thank you. So we've been asking our viewers to think about the potential for flooding, for power outages.
So that was a look at some of my traffic, and that was during the tropical storm we just had. And as you can see, it was a little bit crazy that day. I want to show you a picture, just what it looks like inside the studio when I do that. What you're seeing behind me there is a giant TV screen with a green screen on it. And what the green screen allows me to do is to show what you saw during my traffic report, which is some video and some maps, and it makes it look like I'm standing in front of it. I'm really just standing in front of the green screen, and that's how the camera picks it up and puts it on TV so you can see it. So I hope you guys liked seeing some of my work today and got to learn a little bit about what it's like to be a TV news reporter. It's a pretty exciting job. It can be a lot of work sometimes. And one of the questions I always get from people when I talk to them about my job is, how did you get it? How did you end up going into it? So the big message I would have for all of you is to stay in school and work hard and make some goals for yourself. So I went to high school, graduated high school, then I went to college, graduated college, and then I had to take some jobs that might not have been my first choice, but I worked hard at them, climbed up the ladder, and ended up getting to where I am now. And I still have some future goals for myself of where I'd like to go. So the big message is just work hard in school, of course listen to your teacher, and have some goals for yourself and decide what you want to do, and you can do whatever you want as long as you put your mind to it and you're willing to work for it. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. Again, hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, please let your teacher know. I'll be happy to answer them. And hopefully I'll get to see you all in person soon. And now I'll give you a quick sign off, just like I would on TV. I'm Tim Ronka, Spectrum Bay News 9.